welcoming you all to our online discussion on fifth plenary session of 19th CPC Central Committee. This is the first program of Bangladesh Silk Road Forum on 2021. Some of our respected guests have other program and requested us to give them the opportunity to speak early. Before going there, I'd like to invite Mr. Dilip Borua, Chairman of China Silk Road Forum, and General Secretary, Bangladesh Sammyabadi Dal, and former Industry Minister, to give his introductory remark on the question. But Mr. Dilip Borua, after Mr. Dilip Borua's speech, then we all will open our video camera, and then we will have a snapshot. After that, you can mute your camera, you can mute your microphone, but I will request all of you, when you are not speaking, please mute your microphone so that other can get uninterrupted internet voice. Thank you. Mr. Dilip Borua, sir.
Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Bangladesh, Mr. Li Jiming, distinguished Speaker, on behalf of Bangladesh China Silk Road Forum, we have an online discussion on the decision of the fifth plenary sessions of the 19th CPC Central Committee. Now, I want to give you the introductory speech regarding this issue. The third plenary session of the 11th CPC Central Committee had developed the socialist movement in China with Chinese characteristics, which has transformed China into an economic giant in the East. Now, the decision of the fifth plenary sessions of the 19th CPC Central Committee shall foster China to become the #1 economic and political power in the world. In the plenary session, the principal agenda of the CPC Central Committee was to formulate the 14th five-year plan 2021 to 2025 for national economic and social development. The plenary session had also visualized long-range objectives of China to basically achieve socialist modernization by 2035. China has a dream to become a leader of the fourth industrial revolution. In the plenary session, the Chinese leaders, under the leadership of Comrade Xi, had formulated the visionary path to achieve the goal. With this aim in view, the leadership has given importance to mobilization and motivation of the whole party, the whole nation, the whole people of all ethnic groups to overcome all risks and challenges on the road ahead and initiate a good start for building a modern socialist China to its fullest manifestation. Furthermore, a sustained development and uninterrupted industrial promotion that the CPC leaders also have taken cognizance of, along with many unstable and uncertain factors in the external environment causing the changes in the global political and economic environment that get along the upsurge in the globalizations and the unilateralism and protectionism by the US and its lackeys. But the Chinese leadership is being consolidated both politically and ideologically to move forward, facing this uncertain and adverse path to reach its final culmination. CPC leadership has created a new development pattern where domestic and foreign markets can boost each other with the domestic market as the mainstay in a strategic choice to raise the level of China's economic development. This may lead to new advantages in global economic cooperation and competition in the prevailing situation of the World Congress, she said, ongoing efforts to root China's development inside the country and rely move on domestic market to achieve economic growth. Through this process, a positive economic cycle will develop, and subsequently, internal market activity will be enhanced to lead China to rely more on the domestic market to achieve economic growth. Promoting a large-scale and smooth domestic economic circulation will help better attract global resources, meet domestic needs, elevate industrial and technological development, and foster new advantages in global economic cooperation and competition. So, economic sanctions and blockades or creating obstructions on Chinese goods by raising illegal tariff will be futile exercise in due course of time. By this way, China will meet the current standard for becoming one of the high-income countries by the end of the 14th five-year plan and double the total economic volume per capita income by 2035. In the plenary sessions, the Chinese leadership had given at the top of priorities for upholding the central role of innovation in the modernization drive and in implementing the innovation-driven development strategy. By implementing this strategy, Chinese economy and technological strength and composite national strength will increase significantly. A new stride will be made in the growth of economy and per capita income of urban and rural residents, making major breakthrough in core technologies in key areas. Subsequently, China will become a global leader in innovation. Furthermore, new industrialization, IT applications, urbanizations, and agricultural modernization will basically be achieved. Afterwards, China will complete the building of a modernized economy. The people's right to participate and develop as equals will be adequately protected. The rule of law in the country, the government, and in the society will be in place. At the same time, China will become a strong country by culture, education, talent, sports, and health. The well-rounded development of all people, social equity, and civility will more significantly be enhanced, leading to China's cultural soft power to grow much stronger. Green industry, one of its issues which has been addressed in the plenary session, national environmental issue, is an integrated part of modern socialist development, and in building an economic civilization, eco-friendly ways of work and life will be advanced to cover all areas of the society. Carbon emission will steadily decline after reaching a peak, as there will be a fundamental improvement in environmental to reach the global building of a beautiful China. The plenary session has given importance regarding quality of human resources to build a comprehensively a moderately prosperous society to a higher level for a benefit of the Chinese people. Through this process, the Chinese people will lead a better life and move to a notable and substantial growth process that will achieve promotion of well-rounded human development and bring up common prosperity for every one of the Chinese people, which may help to the world people as a whole. We have realized that the 14th five-year plan, with respect to its period and objectives up to the year 2035, are mutually complementary. After the success of 14th five-year plan and achieving the targets by 2035 in totality, the successful accomplishments may be mentioned that the five-year plan and 2035 targets are comprehensively ones. This success will transform China as a high-tech, robotic, and innovative country in the world. So the decision of the fifth plenary sessions of the 19th CPC Central Committee will be a victory in sight in building a moderately prosperous society in China in all respects. Thank you all for your patient sharing.
Thank you very much, sir, for your introductory speech. Now I'd like to invite Comrade Shah Alam, General Secretary, Communist Party of Bangladesh, to give his remark on this occasion. Comrade Shah Alam.
এখানে কে কে আছেন প্রথমে একটু জানিয়ে নেই
We have with us His Excellency Mr. Li Jiming, Chinese Ambassador, Mr. Dilip Borua, former Minister, Mr. Dr. Abdul Muin Khan, former Minister, Mr. Rashid Khan Menon, former Minister, Munshi Faiz, former Ambassador to China, Shah Hussain Imam, Editor, Financial Express, Mr.
আচ্ছা যাক একজনের আমাকে আমি একটু ইয়াতে ছিলাম একটু বাথরুম টাথরুমে ছিলাম একজনের পর আমাকে দিলে বেটার হয় একজনকে দেন তারপর আমি বলবো
Sir will come because as per my list 2% is not come up, so he was in third actually.
একজনকে একটু দেন হ্যাঁ তারপর আমি বলছি
Faiz sir,
yeah, why not?
Yes, you are expert of China. You are expert in China issues, so sir, you can speak.
No, well, thank you very much for asking me to speak early. Greetings to the Chinese ambassador. Greetings to our chairman of this meeting today, and also to all other participants. This is a very important occasion that we are discussing today, the fifth plenary of the 19th Central Committee of the Chinese Communist Party of China. This was, for China, this was really an important occasion. And since China is a very important friend of Bangladesh, a most important development partner, so all the developments that take place in China are also of great interest to all of us. And that's why you look at it with a lot of interest. And since I was an ambassador in Beijing for more than 5 years and served in that country for another more than 5 years, so I have a personal interest in following the developments in China. So this particular plenary session discussed the formulation of the 14th five-year plan, the plan that will take China from this year on to through 2025. And this is the year, the first year of this particular five-year plan is the year when China completes 100 years of the CPC. And that's when they have this very important vision of achieving a moderately prosperous country status, moderately prosperous society status. And as we can see from the various reports, that China has very successfully achieved that milestone. And now it's planning to build on the achievements and move towards the future. And it is a very ambitious vision for the next 15 years. And that also we can see in the in the discussions at the plenary that the plenary also put forward the vision for the next 15 years. So what are the main things that they discussed? One of the things is to deepen economic development process, and that they have done. For that, China is emphasizing on domestic market. The Chinese social market socialism is a very important development. The reform of the socialist system included this principle of market socialism since 1978, and it has made tremendous progress. And that is one of the secrets behind China's progress over the last few decades. And they are deepening these reforms. And therefore, right now, previously, in the previous decades, China emphasized a lot on export-based export-based development. But now they find that the international market is there is a lot of uncertainty in the international market, mainly because of deglobalization policies, protectionist policies, unilateral policies of a particular country mainly. And so in response to that, China has shifted its emphasis on the domestic market. While they're going to continue to use the advantages of both domestic and international market, and will try to create a good synthesis of the two market situations, but the mainstay will be the domestic market, and will be putting more emphasis on domestic demand. So the next few years, they'll be emphasizing growth based on domestic demand, in response to domestic demand. Therefore, domestic demand is being prioritized in a big way. The other thing that China is doing, and this that came out from these plenaries, is that to reduce the disparities in income, disparities in development between among people in different places, as well as between regions, between cities and rural areas. And so these are something that the Chinese government has been, Chinese party and the government have been trying to do for quite some time. And they are doing more on these in the next period. And this is very important, because when development is not balanced, when development is not equally shared, it does not create the necessary, the desired kind of results. Therefore, this is, I think, a very good move, that they continue to try to balance the growth and income in different parts of the country, the making sure that there is common prosperity, not that not only certain parts of the country will develop and other parts will remain behind. Not only some people will become rich and others will remain poor, but that there will be common prosperity and most people will be growing together. And that is, I think, a very good socialist principle to follow. Then the government is talking about deepening the structural, supply side structural reforms. I think that is also very important. And we'll keep our eyes open to see how they do it. Another important feature is emphasizing technology and innovation. We've been hearing about scientific development. Now, this is one of the mainstays of scientific development, that emphasizing new technologies, new key technologies, and also new innovations. Now, we can see that because of certain policies of other countries, Chinese innovation and technology development have come under a lot of challenge. Therefore, China has to make sure that it doesn't depend so much more on technologies from abroad, that they can grow their own technologies to feed their own innovations and development. So that is going to be good for China, and that is also going to be good for countries like Bangladesh, who depend a lot on their path to development. Then there is, I think, emphasis on ensuring a favorable external environment. China believes in continuous development. It has made very good progress in socio-economic development over the last 3 decades, but it wants to continue that process. And China understands very well that that process can only continue without a hitch or continue smoothly if there is a favorable external environment. Therefore, China goes out of its way to make sure that it has good relations with its neighbors, it has good relations with all other partners across the world. Therefore, it has so many different policies, new policies. They have this policy of the modern day relations between big powers. Then also they have special relations with neighbors, the policies of relations with neighbors. And then they have special policies for reaching out to countries in far areas, regions in Latin America, in Africa. They have special programs for ensuring greater cooperation with all these countries. And so all these together make the Chinese foreign policy that tries to promote good relations between countries, good cooperation, economic cooperation with healthy competition. That is, I think, one of the focus areas of the pronouncements that came out of this fifth plenary. And what is also important, although not mentioned in so many words, but we hear so much about the BRI concept, BRI initiative, Belt and Road Initiative. That is going to be very important. And we hope that all the neighbors of China understand that BRI is not only for China's benefit, it is for the benefit of all participants. And it will be decided on the basis of mutual interest, mutual benefit. And if we can really work together and make BRI successful, this is going to be beneficial for all the countries in the region. And as China makes progress by implementing these new policies, we will also benefit by cooperating more and more closely with China in the days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Munshu Faiz, respected ambassador to China for a long time. He has actually worked under three different governments as the ambassador in China. And thank you very much for your very informative discussion. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Shalom.
Yes.
Yes, please. Mr. Shalom, General Secretary, Bangladesh Communist Party. Thank you very much. Please.
Okay. Thank you. মানে আজকের সবার আমি বাংলায় বলছি, আজকের সবার সভাপতি প্রাক্তন মন্ত্রী কমরেড দিলীপ বড়ুয়া এবং অনুষ্ঠানে উপস্থিত আলোচকবৃন্দ সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ এবং অভিনন্দন জানাচ্ছি। চায়না পার্টিকে আমরা আমাদের পার্টি থেকে কংগ্রেচুলেট এবং তাদের যে ডেভেলপমেন্ট তারা যেটা করছে তার জন্য তাদেরকে অভিনন্দন এবং শুভেচ্ছা জানাচ্ছি। আচ্ছা, এখন আজকে যে থার্ড প্ল্যানারি সেশনের পর চায়না কমিউনিস্ট পার্টির এই যে বিষয়ভিত্তিক যে আলোচনা, এটা যদি এইটার কমরেড দিলীপ বড়ুয়া যে প্রতিবেদনটি পাঠ করলেন সেটা যদি আমরা আমাদের মেইলে অথবা আমাদের হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে দিতে পারতেন তাহলে আমরা একটু প্রস্তুতি নিয়ে এই আলোচনায় অংশগ্রহণ করতে পারতাম। সামনে কোনো আলোচনা হলে এই কাজটি করার জন্য কমরেড দিলীপ বড়ুয়ার প্রতি অনুরোধ রইল। এই কাজটা করলে আলোচনাটা আরো ফ্রুটফুল হয়, কারণ আমরা খুব বিজি থাকি নানা কাজে, খুব বেশি টু মাচ মানে বিজি লাইফ আমাদেরকে লিড করতে হয়। চায়না কমিউনিস্ট পার্টির এই বছরে 100 বর্ষ পূর্তি হতে যাচ্ছে। আমাদের এই উপমহাদেশে প্রথম ওইটা ইউরোপ এবং এশিয়া দুটোটাই পরে 1917 সালে রুশ বিপ্লব হয়েছিল। চায়নাতে আমরা 1949 সালে বিপ্লবটা শোষিত বঞ্চিত মেহনতি মানুষের বিপ্লবটা আমরা দেখলাম। এর মধ্যে চায়না বিপ্লবের নানা ভাগ এবং নানা ঘটনা আমরা নানা সময়ে দেখেছি। 1978 থেকে চায়না একটা নতুন কনসেপ্ট তার অর্থনীতি সমাজ রাজনীতি নিয়ে এগুচ্ছে। সে একটা প্র্যাগম্যাটিক লাইনে মার্ক্সবাদ লেনিনবাদকে এবং মার্ক্সীয় লেনিন মতবাদ এবং মাও সেতুংয়ের চিন্তা এটাকে বেসিস করে একটি প্র্যাগম্যাটিক লাইনে আজকে এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে। এইটা আমরা দেখছি এবং চায়না তার অর্থনীতিতে একটা অসাধারণ উন্নতি করেছে এবং গোটা বিশ্বে তার এখন প্রভাব এটা পড়েছে। এইটা আমাদের বাড়ি এটাকে ইতিবাচক মনে করে।
আসেন নাই আপনি?
আমি ওইদিকে খুব বেশি পেছনের দিকে যাব না, সামনের দিকে আমরা যদি তাকাই, এখন
আপনি পাইছেন তো
চায়না গোটা পৃথিবীর মানে বিশ্ব অর্থনীতিতে এখন আমেরিকাকে বিট করা শুরু করেছে, নানা পর্যায়ে আমেরিকাকে বিট করছে। আমেরিকার চায়নার অর্থনীতিকে ব্লক করার জন্য নানাভাবে প্রচেষ্টা চালাচ্ছে এবং চালিয়েছে, বিশেষ করে ট্রাম্প আমলে। আমার পূর্ববর্তী বক্তায় বলেছেন যে কনজারভেটিভ মুক্ত বাজারের মধ্যে কনজারভেটিভ ইকোনমির দিকে এবং উগ্র জাতীয়তাবাদী প্রবণতা অর্থনীতির ক্ষেত্রেও আমরা দেখেছি, যেটা এখন আমরা বর্তমান ভ্যাকসিন নিয়েও দেখছি। টিকা ভ্যাকসিন, এই যে করোনা মহামারীর ওষুধের ভ্যাকসিন নিয়েও সেটা আমরা দেখছি এবং নানা রকমের বর্ণবাদ শ্রেণী বৈষম্য উগ্র জাতীয়তাবাদী প্রবণতাও বিশ্বে বিরাজ করছে। এগুলোকে আন্ডারমাইন করে কোনো অগ্রগতি পৃথিবীতে খুব বেশি সম্ভব নয়, কেননা এই গ্লোবালাইজেশন যেটা হয়ে গেছে, এর ফলে অর্থনীতি রাজনীতি সবগুলো আন্তঃসম্পর্কিত, ইন্টারকানেক্টেড, ডায়ালেকটিক্যালি আন্তঃসম্পর্কিত। তাহলে এখানে কোনো নীতি নির্ধারণ বা পলিসি ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করার ক্ষেত্রে এই বিশ্বের যে সমস্ত প্রতিষ্ঠান ফোরামগুলো, জাতিসংঘ আছে, WTO, WHO, এই বহু রকমের প্রতিষ্ঠান আছে, সেই প্রতিষ্ঠানগুলোকে এগুলোর আইন কানুন যেটা আছে, এখানে বৈষম্যমূলক আইন কানুন আছে, সেগুলোকেও সংস্কার করতে হবে। এগুলো প্রতিষ্ঠানের মধ্য দিয়ে আগে এগুতে হবে। এখন যেটি হলো যে এই যে ডেভেলপমেন্ট যেটা হচ্ছে চায়নার, সেই ডেভেলপমেন্টের গোলটা কি? চায়না কমিউনিস্ট পার্টি এখন ক্ষমতায়, নিশ্চয়ই মানে আমরা মনে করি চায়না যে গোল অফ ডেভেলপমেন্টের যেটা লক্ষ্য, নিশ্চয়ই মানুষের মুক্তি, গোটা পৃথিবীর মানুষের মুক্তির জন্যই উন্নয়ন মানুষের জন্য, উন্নয়ন অন্য কিছুর জন্য নয়। এই যদি অবজেক্ট হয়, তাহলে চায়না এই অবজেক্টের বেসিসে যদি তারা এগুচ্ছে, আমরা দেখছি সেটা যদি আরো দৃঢ়ভাবে এগুতে পারে, তাহলে সমস্ত প্রতিবন্ধকতা, সমস্ত প্রতিরোধ তাদের পক্ষে ভাঙা সম্ভব। আমরা এই লক্ষ্যে এই জায়গায় আমাদের পার্টি চায়না পার্টিকে সহযোগিতা করতে চায়। STR সায়েন্টিফিক টেকনোলজিক্যাল রিভলিউশন যেটা হয়ে গেছে 70-এর দশকে, সেটা একটা চূড়ান্ত পর্যায়ে এসে গেছে। এই সায়েন্টিফিক টেকনোলজি এখন পৃথিবীর কোনো সীমানা মানছে না, সেটা জাতি রাষ্ট্র হোক আর শ্রেণী কর্তৃত্ব হোক। সেজন্য এই সায়েন্টিফিক টেকনোলজিক্যাল রেভলিউশনের ফলে এখন গোটা পৃথিবীকে ক্ষুধামুক্ত, দারিদ্র্যমুক্ত এবং রোগমুক্ত পৃথিবী গড়ে তোলার, শোষণমুক্ত পৃথিবী গড়ে তোলা সম্ভব। কেন এই সায়েন্টিফিক টেকনোলজিক্যাল ডেভেলপমেন্টের কারণে অর্থাৎ মানব মুক্তির অবজেক্টিভ বেসিস কিন্তু পৃথিবীতে দাঁড়িয়ে গেছে। সেটা যদিও আনিবেন, বিভিন্ন দেশে দেশে আনিবেন এবং সেটা যেন মানুষ না পায়, সেজন্য নানাভাবে পৃথিবীতে বর্ণ বিভেদ, জাতি বিভেদ, ধর্মীয় বিভেদ, আঞ্চলিকতা, এর মধ্যে বিভক্তির মধ্য দিয়ে এই যারা এখনো পৃথিবীতে তাদের শাসন ক্ষমতা বজায় রেখেছে সেটাকে রক্ষা করতে চায়। এই ক্ষেত্রেও চায়নাকে একটা আন্তর্জাতিকতার দৃষ্টিকোণ থেকে এই ব্লকেট গুলো ভাঙার জন্য লড়াই করতে হবে। মানে আমাদের পার্টিও এই লড়ার অংশীদার আছে এবং থাকবে। আরেকটি যেটি কথা সেটা হলো পরিবেশ উন্নয়নের সাথে যদি পরিবেশটাকে সমন্বিত করা না যায়, তাহলে আমাদের প্ল্যানেটটাই যদি না টিকে, আমাদের এই বিশ্ব যদি না টিকে, প্রাণ প্রকৃতি যদি না টিকে, এই আগলি ডেভেলপমেন্টের কারণে, তাহলে তো এই উন্নয়নের কোনো অর্থ হয় না। তার ডেভেলপমেন্টটা হবে নট আগলি, পরিবেশ বান্ধব উন্নয়ন। এটার দিকে আজকে আমাদের সবাইকেই দৃষ্টি দিতে হবে। আমরা চায়না পার্টিকে অনুরোধ করব এটা যেন তাদের লক্ষ্যের মূল ডেভেলপমেন্টের মূল বেসিস হয়। আমি আমার বক্তব্য দীর্ঘায়িত করতে চাই না। ডেমোক্রেটিক গ্লোবালাইজেশন, আজকে পৃথিবীতে ইম্পেরিয়ালিস্ট গ্লোবালাইজেশন চলছে। সাম্রাজ্যবাদী বিশ্বায়নের জায়গায় আজকে আমাদের লড়াইটা করতে হবে। চায়নাও সেই লড়াইয়ের অংশীদার আছে এবং থাকুক, আমরা চাই। সেটা হবে ডেমোক্রেটিক গ্লোবালাইজেশনের জন্য আমাদের লড়াই করতে হবে। ইম্পেরিয়ালিস্ট গ্লোবালাইজেশনকে পরাজিত করে পৃথিবীতে ডেমোক্রেটিক গ্লোবালাইজেশন এটা করতে হবে। এই ডেমোক্রেটিক গ্লোবালাইজেশন যদি আমরা করতে পারি, তাহলে কোনো জাতি সাপ্রেসড হবে না, কোনো জাতি আবার হীনমন্যতায় ভুগবে না। এই জায়গায় আমাদের লড়াইটাকে শানিত করা দরকার। চায়না পার্টি সেখানে এই দৃষ্টিকোণ থেকে তার লড়াইটাকে জারি রাখুক। আন্তর্জাতিকতার মূল মন্ত্রে অর্থাৎ মুক্ত মানবের যে মুক্ত সমাজ প্রতিষ্ঠা করার যে লড়াই চায়না পার্টি, আমরা যারা সবাই মিলে করছি, সেটা যেন আমরা করতে পারি। চায়না পার্টিকে এখন আজকে যে মানে আমাদের দেশের রাষ্ট্রদূত আছেন, তাদেরকে আমাদের পার্টির পক্ষ থেকে আবারও তাদেরকে কংগ্রেচুলেট করতে চাই এবং তারা যেভাবে এগিয়ে যাক, অর্থাৎ আমি যে কথাগুলো বললাম এর ভিত্তিতে তারা যদি এগিয়ে যায়, আমরা অ্যাজ এ কমিউনিস্ট চায়না কমিউনিস্ট পার্টির সাথে আছি এবং থাকব। এবং এই আজকের আলোচনার যারা উদ্যোগ নিয়েছেন তাদেরকে ধন্যবাদ জানাইতে চাই এবং যারা আলোচক আছেন, বিজ্ঞ আলোচক আছেন, তাদেরকেও আবারও ধন্যবাদ জানিয়ে আমাদের পার্টির পক্ষ থেকে সবাইকে আন্তরিক শুভেচ্ছা জানিয়ে আমি আমার বক্তব্য শেষ করলাম। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you very much, Comrade Shah Alam, for your remarkable speech. Now I like to request all of you, please open your camera, start your video. We'll take a screenshot
Palash.
it will go with our publications. And also today we'll give all this discussion, the meeting recordings in our website. You will get it in our website. ASM Kamaluddin, please up your face a little bit. Up your face a little bit. Fix your camera. Yeah. More. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Shahussain Imam sir, please look at the screen. We are taking a screenshot. Ready? Rafi? Ready? Okay. Thank you very much. We have a guest with us. It's an honorable guest, Mr. Muzaffar Hossain Poltu, advisor to the President of Bangladesh Awami League. Sir have some urgency, so I like to give the floor to Mr. Muzaffar Hossain Poltu for his remark on this occasion. Mr. Muzaffar Hossain Poltu. Sir, you are muted. Again, you are muted. Click one time. Unmute. Yes. Okay, don't touch. Yes, please, sir. Again, you are muted. No. No. Hello. We are not hearing. If there any problem in the microphone.
শুনতেছি না তো আপনার কথা। মিউট করেন। হ্যাঁ, আনমিউট করেন আপনার ওই এখানে
স্যার
আপনার এখান থেকে কোনো প্রবলেম
না আমার এখান থেকে কোনো প্রবলেম নাই।
এরা বলতে উনি বলতে
না আমার এখান থেকে কোনো প্রবলেম নাই। উনি মিউট করতে পারছে না, অথবা ওনার মাইক্রোফোন এটাই নষ্ট, ওনার মাইক্রোফোনটাই নষ্ট।
আরেকজনের
দেখেন উনি টেলিফোনে কথা বলতে পারেন কিনা, ছবি দেখান, টেলিফোনে কথা বলান, চেষ্টা করে দেখেন।
একটু রিঅর্গানাইজ করা উচিত ছিল, ওনারা টেকনিক্যাল তো।
আচ্ছা ওনাকে আরেকজনকে
I think now please solve your problem. We like to invite
you later.
Another person. May I request Mr. Shah Hussain Imam, editor, Financial Express. Please, sir, give your remark. Please unmute.
His Excellency.
Yes.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, you are okay.
Thank you very much. This is Shah Hussain Imam, editor, Financial Express, as you have said. Your Excellency, the Chinese ambassador, and the distinguished discussions at the meeting. As a matter of fact, I can't extricate myself from some of the hangovers, or if you may say, some of the impressions that I had gathered, having been in China for some time, for at least twice. The important thing that I picked up from China is that China is a hello. Do you hear me? Hello. Oh, mute.
Go ahead, শোনা যাচ্ছে তো. Go ahead.
You are muted again. Please unmute.
Am I unmuted now?
Now you're okay. Don't click more.
Okay. Let me share some of the impressions I'd gathered from China last year and year before, at least last year. This was pertaining to basically the media cooperation.
আমার এখান থেকে কোনো অবস্থাতেই কোনো কাউকে আনমিউট করা সম্ভব না। ওনার মাইক্রোফোন চেঞ্জ করতে বলেন, উনি যে মাইক্রোফোনে কথা বলছে সেটা চেঞ্জ করতে বলেন, অথবা উনি মোবাইলে জয়েন করুন, কারণ এটা কন্ট্রোলটা ওনার এখানে, আমি তো কন্ট্রোল করতে পারি না এটা। Please, Mr. Imam, please unmute.
No.
Yeah. Again, click only once. Again, you are unmuted.
You're muted, not
unmuted. You are muted. Now, okay.
It's muted now. It is muted.
It's okay. Now it's okay. Please don't touch.
Okay. Now it's okay. Okay. I basically have had to say the same thing to at least thrice. I will step aside from that line of action, line of speech, and concentrate on the basically substance of what I feel like. China, the plenary session discussion emphasized domestic demand centric and supply compatible with domestic demand in China. As far as domestic building and two of the phrases used is with China will root its development inside China which sort of makes me which creates which basically is concerning for me, because in one sense I take the pleasure from the fact that in 2007 and 2008 recession, Bangladesh's domestic market saved it from the onslaught of recession, the meltdown. So by that token, of course, you don't compare Bangladesh with China. on the same scale, but or any scale for that matter. But the fact remains that domestic market is very important for a country like for a populous country. Now, the thing is to center the Chinese development role in China itself. If I'm not too wrong, is a bit concerning because it sounds like as if China is abdicating its global role in economy, having been fatigued by all sorts of trade wars and all with America. Is it abdicating its role, global role in economy? It's a bit of a concern for me. But again, but not at all. Not at all. When you see that China takes care of its, when you see that in I have the latest copy of the Economist Weekly, The Future of Global. Do you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I have the latest copy of the Economist, The Future of Global. The title is The Future of Global E-Commerce. It says, I quote the relevant portions, safe and siloed Western e-retailing may appear to be, it is now unlikely that it will become the world's dominant mode of shopping. Already outside rich countries, the Chinese approach is gaining steam. Many leading e-commerce firms in Southeast Asia, Grab and see, India, Geo, and Latin America, Macrodo, Libre, are influenced by the Chinese strategy of offering a super app with a cornucopia of services from noodle delivery to financial services. The operative sentence is already Chinese characteristics are emerging in the retail heartlands of the West, partly as a result of the pandemic. But anyway, so even in e-commerce, China is basically leaving United States behind. If you basically take into account the purchasing power parity, then the Chinese potential as an economic powerhouse appears to be huge compared to the USA. So USA stands no chance of in the long run to basically maybe competitive, but to be anywhere near China in some certain matters. But what really pleases me a great deal is China's modesty. It says it aims at a moderately prosperous economy for the whole world. This is a fantastic kind of and projects soft power and culture and soft power. And China's aggressiveness, whatever remained of Chinese memory of Chinese aggressiveness here and there, scattered, of course, sparsely scattered. China has completely come out of that mold and projects itself as a soft power, and culture and etiquette is what it is. It is emphasizing, and I really appreciate that very much. The other thing that I would like to, the other admiration that I'd like to express about China is it has combined. It has basically it is basically devoted in very real terms to meritocracy. You see, at two levels, the Chinese Communist Party functionaries and the mandarins, the bureaucrats, they are all a crop of selected crop of or who have gone through the mill of meritocracy and then come up to the state. And that is why Chinese leadership, internal leadership, is so very effective and all that. what I expect from China's vision in the next 5 years, apart from economics, what I expect from China, is to act as a balancing factor. And China has in it metal, the metal, the substance, and willpower. Hopefully willpower. Why shouldn't it be willpower to basically play as the act of a honest balancer in the world affairs? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The editor of Financial Express. Now I like to, still we have a problem with Poltu sir. I'm sending a message to him so that he can solve the technical problem. Please see the message. And now I like to request Mr. Tariq Samsur Rahman, a prominent educationist, Professor International Relations, Jahangirnagar University, to give his remark. Mr. Tariq Samsur Rahman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ambassador and Honorable guests. I feel myself proud to speak on this occasion, as the title entitled the 5th plenary session of the 19th CPC, Communist Party of China. To my understanding, the plenary session has focused a future plan for not only for the China, but also for the whole world itself. In this plenary session, they have identified the programs for the 14th 5-year plan starting from 2021 to 2025. And they have already identified the actions, and they have identified what they are supposed to do. But to our understanding, as a student of international relations and as a keen watcher on China's policy, I have already written a book, already completed a book, and I'm going to write another book on the Chinese policy in the world affairs. In my book on Chinese 70 years of revolution, which has already been published, I have categorically studied the Chinese foreign policy starting from 1949 till date. And I have observed in my book, I have seen that what China achieved in this period is a significant development, as a symbol of significant development, and what should I say, as a model for the whole world, particularly as the development world is concerned. If I take some data from the Chinese sources, I find that the Chinese GDP in 2020 it comes around $14.9 trillion. And we all know that if we could calculate PPP, then within 2024 or 2025, the Chinese economy will overcome US economy. At present, China is the economy number one. And by 2024, China will exceed USA in economic field. So this is a significant development, and this Chinese development shows us that the Chinese leadership is very much accurate, and their strategy is very much correct, and they have created a vision for the whole world that China can lead to the world. And under this, at the present moment, if you could talk about the present situation, as you all know, what had happened starting from the Wuhan crisis, I mean the coronavirus, COVID-19. China has, when whole world is failed to contain with the COVID-19, but China, the only country in the world, they solved it, and they proved their leadership is capable enough to address this pandemic, and they have created a vision for the whole of the world. They can solve the problem. So I think this is one of the achievement that they could follow. Even if we could say, we all know, particularly in the Western world, it has been all along been saying that China is poverty. But if we could calculate, if we could take the data, I can say that about 55 million people, the Chinese leadership, about 55 million people came out of the poverty. It's a great significance. 55 million people come out of the poverty. It is only possible through the dynamic leadership of Chinese Communist Party. So we should all appreciate that. Even the production, we all know that China has a huge population, and to my understanding and to my the statistics shows that China has already produced enough food for the whole of the people of China. So it's a significant development, I should say. It's a significant development, and also the leadership quality, I should say, that they solve the food crisis. Even one thing is very also interesting. When I see the present United States, where they failed to provide the people with health security, but China came out with a vision. They provided, I have the data with me, they provided 1.3 billion people with insurance, and plus old age people, they provided is about 1 billion people under social safety net, the social medical insurance. 60 million people, they have new jobs in China. They have created jobs for the China. To my understanding, the present president, the Chinese Communist Party leader, Xi Jinping, and his 4 comprehensive vision, Communist Party, the whole world, and the comrade Xi Jinping has identified how to solve this problem with these 4 comprehensive. And as this, when I talk about the plenary and the Chinese Communist Party's role, we should be taken into consideration that the Communist Party of China this year, July 23rd, that's going to observe 100 years. A Communist Party having experience of 100 years, it's a significant development. So we have to see how this Chinese Communist Party came out with their vision for the next 100 years. So this is the 100 years is a very, very significant development as China is concerned. Also, we have to take into consideration that 2049, China will be going to be 100 years of age. That means China will celebrate his 100 years. So this is also, in that case, is also very important. And we have to keep our mind that how China cope with the situation, cope with the whole world, cope with how the leader of the whole world. This 2049 is not far away from us, only a couple of years ahead from today. So we have to wait and see how Chinese leadership came out with their vision and came out with their programs. So I believe that China is, at present day, China is a world power. China has produced enough evidence how to lead the world. China produced enough evidence for us how to fulfill our dreams, how to fulfill a living standard. So we should all keep our mind to concentrate to see how China is going to see in the next coming days. Moreover, to take it into account, we have to say that China is going to be a leader of quote unquote the clean energy sector. So when the whole world is facing tremendous difficulties with climate change, China came out with their vision, with their programs, with their policies, and is going to be the leader of the Chinese clean energy, the leader of the clean energy. So as Bangladesh is concerned, as a very near, as a neighboring country of China, we all believe that we can be benefited from the Chinese policy. And as Ambassador Munshi Faiz has already mentioned, the BRI, that means the Road and Belt Initiative, and we all know that 61 countries has already joined, including Bangladesh, in the BRI program. So I also believe that the BRI is a tremendous achievement, and for Bangladesh to cope with the BRI policies, it's for us. It's an example we can follow the Chinese policies as the BRI is concerned. And in that case, I should expect from China a Silk Health Route concept. That means as the whole world has already engulfed with the so-called pandemic, the so-called the COVID-19. So only China can come out with vaccines, with programs, with medical facilities, with medical infrastructure, and we expect, and my suggestion to Honorable Ambassador, that China can bring a Silk Health Route concept so that the whole world, or mainly the 61 countries that has already been joined the BRI, they can help through the Chinese concept of the Silk Health Route. We expect from China. China is our development partner. We are benefited from China, and we all expect that as the pandemic is still there, so China can help us to build a Silk Health Route. Thanking you all. Thanking you, Ambassador. Thanking you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your outstanding speech and giving some new directives towards our relationships, bilateral relationships. It is very much encouraging. I think Chinese government will obviously think about it. Now, I like to request, if possible, our Honorable Mr. Muzaffar Hossain Poltu, Honorable Advisor to the President, Bangladesh Awami League, to join, if not possible in this device, with any other device.
মাননীয় সভাপতি, আমরা যখন অপেক্ষা করছি, আমি দুই একটা কথা বলতে চাই আপনার অনুমতি পেলে।
হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে। হ্যালো, হ্যাঁ বলুন।
আপনার অনুমতি পেলে দুই একটা কথা অ্যাড করতে চাই।
হ্যাঁ বলুন।
Excellency Ambassador and the other guests, other participants, I think while we are waiting for the honorable guests to join, I'll add one or two words here. That when I was going through the papers that I have in front of me about this fifth plenary of the 19th Central Committee of the CPC, which was held on November 3, 2020, I noticed that this was a great exercise in democratic consultation. That is a point that we tend to miss out, but that is very important because that is a crux. That is a crux of the socialist democratic system, the system of consultation at different levels. And as far as I understand that in this process, the proposals which were first finalized in April 2020, they were circulated among the people, and more than 1 million comments were received. And then out of those comments, 546 comments were actually reflected in the final document. So this is a very important example of the kind of democracy that China practices within the party, intra-party democracy, as well as the kind of democratic practice consultation that is prevalent in the government and in the society. I think this is something that one must one must look at carefully. And then there is another point that I would like to make is that through these papers, I found out that there was a lot of emphasis put on equality and rule of law. That is another important aspect of Chinese socialist democracy, that rule of law should prevail, that everybody is equal before law, and that law does not discriminate. Even the highest, very senior people are also accountable. And also that there should be, people should enjoy equal benefit of the development that the country is achieving every year, every day. So that is another important thing. And I think if you all go through these papers, you'll notice a lot of emphasis being put on culture, education, and health. And particularly during this last year, health became an important issue throughout the world. And it continues to be an important issue for all countries in the world. And China, as our previous speaker mentioned, China has done tremendously well in addressing this.
And containing this pandemic.
Thank you, sir.
And we must learn from this. And China, from the very beginning, has been talking about cooperation among countries on this pandemic.
Yes.
That's very important. That many countries are trying to go alone, trying to just grab the technological advantage that they have to themselves. But China has been talking about cooperation. I think that is where we should all look to China for leadership, but also that we must all seek this kind of cooperation. China alone cannot ensure the cooperation, so we must all join together with China and persuade other friends of ours that cooperation is the most important way of addressing these institutions. That is something that we must know. And the other important aspect, of course, one of the other participants mentioned about it, is the eco-friendly development that is being pursued by China. China is the leader in green development,
energy,
green development. So that is one area that we expect China to help us grow, because Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable countries in terms of environmental degradation. And therefore, I believe that China can really come and help us improve our situation in this regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the lively discussion. May I request Mr. Rashid Khan Menon, MP, ex-Minister for Civil Aviation, and the President, Bangladesh Workers' Party. Mr. Rashid Khan Menon, please, sir.
Excellency Ambassador, Chair of this webinar, Mr. Dilip Barua, Comrade Dilip Barua, respected discussions. Thank you very much. I thank particularly Mr. Dilip Barua for inviting me to such an important discussion on the 5th plenary of the 19th Central Committee of Communist Party of China. I'll be rather brief because I just got a paper, just a summary of some of the discussions in the CPC Central Committee and its decisions. I would like to just point out 3 or 4 things which attracted me most. Number one is that the CPC has definitely made a new jump in the development process, focusing on high quality development. It is development which was always there. China was doing very good in their development process, but now the emphasis of this plenary session is high quality development process, and their aim is to make it a real modern socialist China, and that is very, very important. before it was a moderately prosperous China, now it would be a real modern socialist China. That is the aim of this 14th February plan. Number two is that in this time of pandemic, when all the economy of the world, the big economy of the world, is reeling under the pandemic's effect, China could roll out a plan for forward-looking plan for development of his, not only of his own country, but of the world, because the development in China would definitely help the development in the world also. And in this, they try to depend on the domestic market, of course, which will also attract the foreign markets, but they are, because the new trend of protectionism and deglobalization is harming the whole economy, the world economy. Here, China, to avoid that situation, they want to do it through the domestic, increasing the domestic mobility of the resources, and by that to develop a real modern socialist China. The second thing which attracted me most is that China in this document has said that it is more on common prosperity, not because we also see, we are also in Bangladesh, we are in a development process, but unfortunately, the income equality has grown up so much that the whole economy would be under danger. In the Gini Shohak, which is the measure of inequality, we find that Bangladesh has reached a very dangerous zone. But in China, the emphasis of the CPC is about the common prosperity of all, so that the inequality between the people and also between the regions is definitely curbed, and all people of China would benefit from that. And number three, which attracted me most, again, it has been mentioned by Munshi Faiz, just mentioned it, is the process of making this 14th five-year plan. I found that 1 million opinions were gathered from the masses, from the different tiers of the party. And from that, it was examined piece by piece. It was examined piece by piece, and from that, 586 suggestions had been already included in this 14th five-year plan. Here is Mr. Moin Khan is here. He was our ex-planning minister. We know the planning process in our country. It is being made by the bureaucrats and given to the Economic Council. Recently, as president of the standing committee of one of the ministries, we are asked, all the presidents of the standing committee are asked to listen to the planning process. They just rolled out something, spoke out something, and we have to give opinion just sitting on in this meeting. And when we asked that some time should be given to us to give our opinion, no time was given. Rather, the ministry, the ECNEC, passed the whole 8th five-year plan just on their own. But in China, we have seen that about 1 million opinions were taken from the people, and it was examined piece by piece, and from that 586 opinions have been included in the 14th five-year plan. And the last but not the least is that the Chinese party is looking forward for a environmental friendly world, so that the whole environment does not hamper the development process of any country, and also so that the planet really exists. As mentioned by Mr. Shalom, it is very important nowadays to see that our planet remains intact, not destroyed by our own foolish acts. But the Chinese party, CPC, has definitely emphasized on this environmental aspect of our development process. And with these words, I would like to congratulate the Chinese party, Chinese government, and also His Excellency Ambassador for combating the pandemic in a most heroic way and could contain it in their own country, while all other big countries, all other countries are reeling under the attack of the pandemic, and they are absolutely a desire about not only about economy, also desire about the whole health system. So congratulations again to CPC, and we hope that in future Bangladesh could get some help from China in helping Bangladesh to combat this pandemic situation in Bangladesh. Thank you very much, Excellency.
Thank you, sir, for your amazing speech. This is time to invite our another distinguished participant, Mr. Abdul Muin Khan, for member of the Standing Committee, BNP, and also former minister, to speak on this issue.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to say a few words in front of this distinguished gathering. Mr. Dilip Barua, President of the Bangladesh China Silk Road Forum. Today's chief guest is Excellency, the Ambassador for China in Bangladesh. Distinguished guest.
I am already
gentlemen, and an element which is missing, the ladies, in today's meeting. I wish our president invites our distinguished lady members of this forum in our future meetings. Today, we are here to basically highlight the achievements made in the 5th plenum of the Standing Committee of the Chinese Communist Party, 19th Standing Committee, 19th Central Committee, as they call it. I would start with an exceptional observation that was made in that meeting.
Hello. In
the meeting, it was said that China has made moderate progress in their 13th five-year plan. And they have called their society a moderately prosperous society. I have been amazed at the modesty of the Chinese leadership. While today China is the second largest economy in the world, they have identified themselves as a moderately prosperous society. Isn't that a modesty that is worth learning for us? Well, we in Bangladesh continue to claim that we have already become a role model in the world in development and whatnot. I would request and I will appeal to our leaders in our own country to learn from the experience and the wise guidance of our Chinese leaders. I'm sorry I have to say this, but as I said, when I was going through the proceedings of the 5th plenum, and when I saw this note that China is a moderately prosperous society, I was just taken aback. And that is why I'm emphasizing this point at the very beginning of my brief comments. Secondly, we have seen that they have taken an approach in that meeting. First, they made an assessment of what they achieved in their 13th plan. And then they went into the formulation of their 14th plan, their plan, their activity, and their projections and their strategy. So that is how they have shaped their fifth plan. I would also say that there's a lot of things that we can learn from how they conduct these meetings of their central committee. In fact, a few minutes ago, Mr. Rashid Khan Menon, Honorable Foreign Minister, he referred to me as a past planning minister of Bangladesh. And while being in that capacity, I, for the first time, tried to take the planning of this country to the people of this country, following a bit of the Chinese example. I introduced 64 district planning committees for the first time in the history of Bangladesh, taking it away from the air-conditioned rooms of the planning ministry in Sherabangla-Nagar. But let me admit, and let me tell you frankly, although the task was initiated, a lot had been achieved. I had worked on 48 volumes of local plannings, which were published and printed. Finally, I could not place the local level planning, the people's planning, right in place because of the resistance from the conservatives in our society. I seek forgiveness for saying that, but that is the truth. I hope the future generations in this country will follow the lead from China and introduce the concept of people's planning in case of Bangladesh also. Thank you. Let me next come to what the Chinese have been doing over the past 5 years. They had achieved the GDP target, 13 trillion US dollars, amazing. And they have surpassed their target by December 2020, which we have just completed. And now they are looking forward to further growth and further economy. They have identified that they have done better than what they wanted to achieve in their 13th five-year plan. And in the 14th five-year plan, they indeed aspire to do even better. This is, again, something to learn from the Chinese experience. What they have said is about reform and opening up of the Chinese society. This is important. They have talked about supply side reform. They have talked about enhanced macroeconomic regulation, or in other words, they have been talking about the regulatory system to be introduced in their economic advancement process. And they have also talked about expanding the domestic demand in contrast to promoting exports. This is, I believe, a new agenda added to the concept of Chinese development, because this is for the first time I have noted that they have explicitly mentioned this concept of domestic demand. And they have also explicitly mentioned the issue of improving the lifestyle of the Chinese inside the country. This is another great achievement of the 13th plan and the projections of their 14th plan. As I said, during the 13th plan, they have identified 55 million people in China who have been lifted out of poverty. That is a great achievement. And together with that, they have also identified that 60 million new jobs had been created in the urban areas of China. And not only that, they have re-emphasized the point of reformulating the concept of urban living. At the same time, for the 14th plan, please make a note of that, they have not forgotten about the rural China. In the 14th plan, they have emphasized the advancement of agriculture, thus re-emphasizing the issue of rebuilding rural China. So at the same time, while they're talking about improving urban China, they have not forgotten the issue of rural China. And they have unlike in the most developed and Western countries of the world. They have not forgotten the concept of agricultural development. And this, I emphasize, is another point Bangladesh cannot forget. Because in Bangladesh, until now, almost 60% of the total population are still dependent directly or indirectly on agriculture for their livelihoods. So for us also, although there is a new trend for urbanization, I think we must not forget, we cannot afford to forget about our rural Bangladesh. These are things which I would like to emphasize. Next comes the issue of environment, which has already been emphasized by our Ambassador Munshi Faiz and also by some of the speakers. It is true that until now, China had not put so much emphasis on the environmental aspects and carbon emission, and which is one reason the Western countries had continued to blame China, saying that they can produce things in a cheap way. True, I admit that China produces things in a cheap way, but I would think that is not just because of the environmental lack of environmental control, but this has also got to do a lot with the availability of cheap labor within China. But now that in their 14th plan, they are highlighting the carbon emission and they are highlighting the environmental cleanup, I believe this will remove any barrier on Chinese products to be exported to Europe and the US. At the same time, with the forthcoming change in the US leadership, I do believe that a lot of the problems that had been created in the last 2, 3, 4 years regarding the globalization issues and the export of Chinese products into the US, imposing new trade barriers and new taxes. I do hope that in the coming future, with the new leadership in the United States, these barriers would be removed and China will continue to expand its economic advancement, not only within their own country, but around the world. I would not like to take too much of your time, but some of the things we cannot but emphasize, and as I said, things from which we can learn ourselves. China has decided to improve, as I said, to improve the standard of living within their country. This is extremely important. In a meeting introducing the concept of New China, the issue has been touched, one issue has been touched, is that of coronavirus. Let me be very frank about this. I admit that initially, maybe some policies relating to handling of the coronavirus scenario in Wuhan had not been up to the expectation, but we have seen how the Chinese leadership and the Chinese policymakers had overtaken that lapse. And subsequently, they had fully controlled the corona within their country and normal life had returned in China much faster than in the Western world. So this is a great achievement which needs to be highlighted, while at the same time, I believe in future, China would be careful in handling such catastrophes within their own country, which maybe initially there was some lapse in Wuhan. But now that a new vaccine had also been introduced in China, I believe China has fully succeeded in containing the coronavirus within their own country. And in this respect, they will extend their support to other poorer countries of the world and other countries which need their support, including our own country, Bangladesh. One more point. China has talked about improving their governance system in this meeting. This is extraordinary. A reference to this had been made by Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Faiz, a few minutes ago in his supplemental intervention. I am amazed. China has talked about governance system, and I do believe in future they will go one step further. With the advancement of the concept of governance, they will introduce the concept of good governance and human rights as well. And that will bring China to the real leadership in this world. We know that China is today the number 2 supreme power in respect of economy. And within the next 5 years or so, or maybe latest by 1928, it has been projected that China would be the leading economic power in the world. At the same time, we hope and pray and wish China also takes leadership in politics around the world, in global politics, I mean, because a world where there is no political balance, there is always a problem. We are open to danger until and unless there is some kind of a balancing force in global politics. And it is only China who can play that role in this world. We have seen that Russia is no longer able to play that role. I would request our chief guest today, His Excellency the Chinese Ambassador, to take this.
Sir, you are muted. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is time for Mr. Rashid Khan Menon. He was busy with another work, so I like to request Mr. Rashid Khan Menon. Sorry, I'm sorry. Hasanullah Inu MP. He was busy with another program. Anyone listening me?
No.
Anyone listening me?
This, Mr. Rashid Khan Menon, Mr. Moin Khan, the senior leaders.
Hello.
The leaders.
Okay.
Leaders, ambassadors, and dignitaries, greetings to you all, and Assalamu alaikum. I could not listen to all the speakers, but more or less have been briefed by Comrade Dilip Burua beforehand about the whole issue. I was listening to Dr. Moin Khan recently. Now, let me first greet you on the New Year's greeting. Amid the COVID war, we are passing through a global war against COVID-19. And also, we have been discussing about the Chinese Communist Party's 14th five-year plan, and also for discussing the comments and analysis of His Excellency the President Xi Jinping in the 5th plenary of the 19th CPC Central Committee. Well, as I gathered, I will discuss on the subject because I am trying to understand how relevant is the 14th five-year plan to Bangladesh economy, Bangladesh and Asian and world economy as such. That is how we are interested to discuss the 14th five-year plan of the Communist Party of China. When we are discussing this, as I mentioned earlier, that we are in a war against COVID-19 across the world, and 2021, 2022, and next 4 years will be a situation which we will call post-COVID-19 situation. Now, during this COVID-19, the world has been exposed to the weaknesses of the socio-politico-economic system and structures of the developed countries and the developing countries as well. On the other hand, failing to contain the viruses, COVID-19, many developed countries' leaders are indulged themselves in blame game, unilateralism, deglobalization, and at the same time these are very sad things to cooperate when the pandemic is there, but we are indulging ourselves in a blame game. That is very sad. And also, there is a tendency by certain companies having said 5-year plan, and as I gather and as I think that the 14th 5-year plan has been situation. What is relevant to the Bangladesh economy and Asian economy is that the new development plan of China economy, but it still has a room to complement and supplement the Asian and world economy. So, in spite of the certain countries' problems, China is still advocating for globalization. So this is helpful for Bangladesh, neighboring countries, Asian economies, where we can, during the 5-year tenure plan, we can complement and supplement with the Chinese economy. That is one thing. So Bangladesh economy will not be disturbed.
Hello.
Supply chain of commodities will not be disturbed. 5-year plan. Second, I'm not going to explain, you know, as it is. Second issue is that Chinese plan emphasize on the domestic economy. The COVID-19 situation. But there is when China is emphasizing on the domestic economy, do the foreign countries investment and foreign countries export import system with the Chinese economy will be curbed or will be partially stopped. Here, Xi Jinping, His Excellency, and the plan itself is very clear. They said that though China will emphasize on the domestic economy, but they will go with the dual tactics. That means the more investment domestically and investment from outside and commerce from outside will be interlinked in the domestic economy. So this is also helpful for Bangladesh. So Bangladesh has an opportunity to participate in the domestic economic development and expansion of the Chinese economy during this 5-year plan. So here Bangladesh will be benefited because Bangladesh can export.
We have to take a decision.
Third is very interesting. They said that common prosperity for all, moderate prosperous society, and modernization economy. Disparities be reduced. These are the important cornerstone of the 5th plan. So here also Bangladesh has a certain experiences to share, because as a developing country in Bangladesh, we need to reduce the domestic reduction of the domestic poverty is we need a prosperous society, a modernized economy where innovation is very important. And China has said that they are going to build the largest social security program. So after the post-COVID situation, Bangladesh needs to develop a very strong social security program. So here, looking at the Chinese situation, we can share the experiences which will help us to reduce our poverty, which will help us to build a proper social security system, which will help us to develop a prosperous and modern economy where Chinese Communist Party has emphasized on innovation. So having said that, I think these are the three areas where Bangladesh can cooperate. And lastly, state has a great role to play lens of socialism. Here also, China and Bangladesh can share their experiences to move forward in the coming days. So thank you very much. Fifth plan is definitely will be good for the Chinese economy and also will be helpful for the neighboring countries, Asian and developing. Thank you very much. Long live China-Bangladesh friendship. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hassanul Haq Inu, MP and former minister. I'm sorry for the interruption. This time we are waiting for the hear from our chief guest, His Excellency Mr. Lee Jiming, Honorable Ambassador to the People's Republic of Bangladesh, to People's Republic of Bangladesh to People's Republic of China to Bangladesh. And he's very much supportive to all our programs.
To endorse financial statements.
Programs of Bangladesh-China Silk Road Forum from the very initiation. Now I will like to welcome His Excellency
Mr. Financial statements.
Ambassador China.
Well, thank you very much. His Excellency Mr. Kashid Khan Momin, President of the Workers' Party of Bangladesh. His Excellency Mr. Abdul Moyen Khan, Member of the Standing Committee of BMP. His Excellency Mr. Hassan Haq Imu, President of Jatiya Sanam Jantrik Da. Sorry for my pronunciation. And also His Excellency Mr. Shah Alam, Secretary General of Communist Party of Bangladesh. His Excellency Mr. Mushi Faiz Aham, former ambassador to China. And His Excellency Mr. Dilip Barua, of course, Chairman of the Bangladesh-China Silk Road Forum, and distinguished guests, Shuvo Shoko. I'm delighted to participate in this very important virtual discussion. And also, I'd like to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Bangladesh-China Silk Road Forum for organizing such an important event. And also, I found the previous speakers' sharing and comments are very inspiring to me and very, very important. So in addition to your sharings and comments, I'd like to add a little bit more of my understanding and I think the key points of this fifth plenary session of CPC. Especially, I would like to mention some potential opportunities for Bangladesh my understanding of this meeting. This significant meeting was held at the historic time when China is about to accomplish the building of a society with moderate prosperity in all respects, and kick off a brand new journey of fully building a modern society, modern socialist country. The session adopted CPC Central Committee's proposals for the formulation of the 14th five-year plan, and also for national economic and social development and long-range objectives. You know, the CPC Central Committee do not formulate the five-year plan. The People's Congress do. But the proposal of CPC is the guideline for the People's Congress to formulate the five-year plans for China. And why the world take the China's five-year plans seriously, I think is that we make the plan, we implement it, and we achieve goals made by plans. So we have a good record to do so. That is why the world take it seriously. And this new five-year plan carries systematic planning and strategic arrangements and will be a guide of action for China's economic and social development in the next 5 years and beyond. At a historic moment, when the time frame of two centenary goals converge, this blueprint for pursuing dreams for a new era and a new journey not only bears on the future well-being of the 1.4 billion Chinese people, but will, as previous speakers correctly mentioned, also bring more Chinese opportunities to the development of Bangladesh and probably other countries as well. During the past 13th five-year plan period, the Chinese economy has maintained a stable and rapid development, and overall governance of China has been greatly strengthened. And China has made the defined achievements in completing the building of a moderately prosperous society under tough conditions, I would say. Even facing severe challenges, China's GDP growth grew at an average annual real rate of 6.7% from 2006 to 2019. 2016 to 2019. Although the outbreak of the pandemic led to a sharp slowdown in economic growth in 2020, China's annual GDP growth rate is estimated to be over 2%. We will get the specific figure, I think, very soon. With its GDP expected to exceed 100 trillion yuan, or 15 trillion US dollars in this year, in last year. And the per capita GDP exceeding $10,000. Annual grain output has crossed 650 billion kilograms for 5 consecutive years. China's achievements in poverty alleviation is worth mentioning, and it has attracted worldwide attention. As a previous speaker, one of the previous speakers also mentioned, 55.75 million rural residents have been lifted out of poverty within the last 5 years. And people's living standard also highly facilitated. China has established the world's largest social insurance system with basic health insurance coverage more than 1 billion, and basic insurance for the aging population covering nearly 1 billion people. All these achievements reflected the superiority of the socialist system with Chinese characteristics and attributed to the powerful leadership of CPC. The successful conclusion of the 13th five-year plan laid a solid foundation for the economic and social development in the upcoming 5 years, and for embarking on a new journey of building a moderately socialist country in all round way. Ladies and gentlemen, no ladies and gentlemen, only gentlemen, okay. The proposals adopted at this 5th plenary session are the major strategic plans for the future development made by the CPC through an in-depth analysis of the profound and complex changes in China's current development environment. It raises a set of long-range objectives for China to basically achieve socialist modernization by year 2035, including more notable substantial progress be achieved in shared prosperity for all of its citizens. The core contents are as follows, I think. Number one, entering a new stage of development. The communique of the session says, China remains in an important period of strategic opportunity for development at present and for the foreseeable future. But there are new development in both opportunities and challenges. This is a very important judgment. We're still in the period of opportunity of development at present, strategic opportunity. Since the reform and the opening up, China's economy has made a historic leap forward. However, it has entered into a new normal, which is characterized by a decline in potential growth due to the downturn of traditional growth drivers and our corresponding downward trends in economic growth. Through a series of reforms, China has achieved an overall increase in labor productivity and the total factor productivity, raised the potential growth rate of GDP from the supply side, significantly enhanced the stability of economic growth. With China's successful building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects, China needs to be more target-oriented. According to the higher requirement to solve the contradictions between the unbalanced, inadequate development and the people's ever-growing needs for a better life. To solve a serious structural, cyclical, and institutional problems impacting on the high-quality development for fostering strong, sustainable development of the new growth drivers so as to constantly to realize the people's yearning for a better life. And number two is implementing the new development philosophy. President Xi Jinping has pointed out that development in a new era and a new stage must be based on the new vision of development, and it must be a high quality development. This is a scientific judgment made on the new features and the requirements brought about by the development and changes in the principal contradiction in Chinese society. And in the complex international environment, the key to address these problems is to run our own business well and raise the quality of our development. Its fundamental requirement is to build greater synergy among quality, structure, scale, speed, efficiency, and security of development. The proposal have put forward major targets for China's economic and social development during the 14th five-year plan period, which can be summarized as the targets of making new progress in 6 aspects. It is the new development philosophy of innovation, coordination, green, open, and shared development that runs through all of them. As an overall outline and logic framework to guide development, these 5 principles each have their own specific focus while supporting the other 4. Innovation is the primary driving force. Coordination is the endogenous feature, and green is the universal form. Openness is the only road, and the sharing is the fundamental goal. As we all see, China's new development philosophies adhere to the notion of development that put the people first, allowing the people to enjoy a better quality of life. 3, fostering a new development paradigm. At present, the COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated changes unseen in a century in the world. The global economic findings itself in deep recession. Mounting unilateralism, protectionism, and bullying, as well as backlash against economic globalization, have added risks and uncertainties to the world economy. The traditional international circles has weakened markedly. The proposal pointed out that China will foster a new development paradigm, domestic circulation as the mainstay, and the domestic international circulation reinforcing each other. The greater focus on the domestic market aims at a stronger and more sustainable development based on a better tapping of the potential of domestic demand A better connection between the domestic and international market, and a better use of both and the resources. To foster a new development paradigm, China will first adhere to the expanding domestic demands as the strategic foundation. Further unleash the potential of domestic consumer demand and achieve a higher level of dynamic balance in which demand leads supply and the supply creates demands. Second, China needs to facilitate national economic circulation, turns its own huge market potential into huge resource allocation and huge economic circulation, and stimulate its potentials and advantages in international cooperation and competition in a new situation. Third, China also wants to build a new system of higher level openness rather than domestic circulation on its own, still as a closed domestic loop. Gentlemen, looking back over the past 5 years, our bilateral cooperation has achieved fruitful results. President Xi Jinping's successful visit to Bangladesh in 2016 has enhanced China-Bangladesh strategic cooperative partnership and provided an important potential guarantee for bilateral cooperation in various fields. For many consecutive years, China has been Bangladesh's largest trading partner. Chinese companies have been deeply involved in major infrastructure constructions in Bangladesh, including Panama Bridge, the Payar power plant, and the tunnel under the Kanapali River, and so on. Chinese medical experts have traveled to Bangladesh to engage in fighting against the pandemic. In addition to the two countries have made considerable progress in cooperation in defense, security, education, culture, and other fields. Now, both China and Bangladesh are entering their new stage of development. China is about to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the founding of the CPC and embark on the 14th five-year plan to achieve long-range objectives through the year 2035. While Bangladesh is about to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the founding and embark on the 8th five-year plan to achieve the vision of 2041. It is appropriate that the 5th plenary session was held at this time and the proposal is adopted. It is not only provide important guideline for the future development of China, but also provides opportunities for China-Bangladesh cooperation. The 5th plenary session fully embodies the CPC's ideological principle of seeking truth from facts and keeping pace with times. The proposal is the outcome of our comprehensive assessment of the latest change in the domestic and international situation. As for the development of Bangladesh, it is also necessary to accurately grasp the timely and the urgent task of national development based on its own national conditions. As to the future practice of China-Bangladesh cooperation, the strategic development of China's development in the next 5 years or more made in the proposal is of great significance, not only to China, but also to other countries all over the world, including Bangladesh. In the future ahead, China-Bangladesh cooperation has at least the following opportunities to seize. First, opportunities for trade development. With a population of nearly 1.4 billion, a middle-income group of 500 million, or even sometimes people say 600 million, and the retail market was $6 trillion. China has the largest market with the largest potential in the world. As the third China's International Import Exposition, Chinese President Xi Jinping said, China will stay committed to openness, cooperation, and unity for win-win results. We will steadily expand all-round opening up and explore more efficient ways to connect domestic and international markets and share factors of production and resources. Our aim is to turn the Chinese market into a market for all, for the world, a market shared by all, and a market accessible to all. Last year, China gave zero tariff treatment to 97% of Bangladesh products, pushing Bangladesh export to China into a new golden age, which will inject new impetus to Bangladesh's rapid GDP growth during the 8th five-year plan. Second, opportunities for innovative development. As I just mentioned, among the new development philosophy, innovation takes the first place. China will adhere to the strategic support of high-quality development based on innovation, continue to promote innovative-driven development, focus on promoting the new economic and new economy, new business models, and a new infrastructure, and strengthen exchanges and mutual learning with Bangladesh and other developing countries in the process of innovation, so as to help Bangladesh develop a modern industry system in the post-pandemic era. Third, opportunities for green development. China and Bangladesh are both parties to the Paris Agreement and active participants and practitioners for its implementation. Last December, President Xi Jinping and the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina both made solemn commitments to the world to tackle climate change at the Climate Ambition Summit. China strives to peak carbon dioxide emission by the year 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality by the year 2060. I believe that advancing China and Bangladesh commitment to climate change will help elevate the pressure on Bangladesh's climate vulnerability and China's commitment to promote green development, supporting the needs of relevant industrial and in China's will also benefit Bangladesh enterprises. To make better use of these opportunities, I would like to share with our friends here one of my suggestions, or actually probably not only one, here with you. First, it's time to look east. The situation here in the contemporary world is that the West is still stronger than the East, while the West is the existence and is the history. And the East, though it is still weaker than the West, the East is the growing power and is the future. So look east instead of always look west. Second, I suggest look ahead to the future. As a good neighbor and a trusted friend to Bangladesh, China is willing to continue to work with friends of Bangladesh to earnestly implement the important consensuses reached by the leaders of our two countries. So look east. There's a small story that I'd like to share with our friends here. Almost exactly 1 year ago, last year in January, I accompanied two members of parliaments of Bangladesh to visit China, to be more specific, to visit my hometown. They visited different facilities, hospitals, even a vaccination factory in my hometown. But at that time, the pandemic was not there. And that was by chance that we arranged the visit to a vaccination factory. They produce hepatitis A vaccine and polio vaccine and so on, not the COVID-19 vaccine, of course. After those visits, these two parliament members mentioned to me, because I was there together with them, they said, we can't believe this is their first time to visit this part of China. Only 2 hours of flight from Dhaka. There's such advanced facilities, advanced factories, and so on. Why we always look east? Why the Bangladesh people not look east? Both of them are very well educated in Europe, and they have a long experience of living in Europe. But they have this reflection, which impressed me a lot. I think probably after we've been talking about the importance of China's fifth plenary session and the 14th five-year plan and so on, it's time for Bangladesh to look east, to look into the future now, to look China now. That is my personal suggestion from my perspective, of course. So at the end of my speech, I would like to summarize my own understanding of the fifth plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee as these following 4 points. First, the purpose of China's development is to enable China, the Chinese people, to live a better life not to threaten, not to challenge, not to take over any other country. Second, the nature of China's development is the commitment to the path of peaceful development. Sometimes people say peaceful rise, but we'd rather use the word peaceful development, not the course of conflicts and disputes. Third, the character of China's development is of high quality one, not simply expanding its scale. Fourth, the significance of China's development is inclusive and is to provide opportunities for all, for the world, not just enjoy the fruits of development alone within China. So that is my understanding of the fifth plenary session of the CPC Central Committee, and also my understanding of the 15th five-year plan of China. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I think we should give him a clap.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your excellent, brilliant, and noteworthy speech. I think Bangladesh, all the policymakers here, all the political leaders and the key personalities here learned many things from your speech, and they will obviously look for the China and look for the East, not always look for West. This is the time to end our discussion. Before that, I'd like to invite Mr. Shahiduzzaman Khan, Secretary General Bangladesh Silk Road Forum and Executive Editor, Financial Express, to give a vote of thanks to the all distinguished guests. Mr. Shahiduzzaman Khan. Mr. Shahiduzzaman Khan, are you hearing me? I think he may not be available. So thank you very much, all distinguished personalities, for the 2 hours long meeting, and I have a patience to hear all the speakers, and everybody was very keen to listen from each other. And with these few words, I like to thank all of you for this participation and to support the initiatives of Bangladesh-China Silk Road Forum. It's a forum to build people-to-people relationships from Bangladesh people and China people. And we hope that in future program, you also be very attentive. We have several programs chopped down for the up to July. And this program, the recorded version will be in our Facebook, in our website, in our Twitter, all the social media we have. And maybe it will publish in the Financial Express tomorrow as a supplement to have you good words about our relationships and the development and the mutual experience of both the countries. So with these few words, I'd like to thank all of you and want to end the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Stay well, stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you all, including His Excellency Ambassador from Bangladesh China Silk Road Forum.
Yeah.